Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Let's hang out. And let's talk about what legends are found. And let's listen to two lesbians shout. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Hang Out. I'm Ellie Brigida.
And I'm Lee Holmes Foster, and here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. This season, our first Patreon bonus episode will be out on October 7th on Saltburn. So get ready for that old thing. But we have all 22 episodes so far up on our Patreon. If you want to join, you can join at bit.ly/lespatreon.
We also want to remind you we are trying to plan another trip, probably sometime in the spring, maybe? We're still looking for input. If anyone has thoughts on where you'd like to go or when you'd like to go, hit us up, email us at letshangoutpod@gmail.com or in our Discord if you are one of our patrons. But we're really starting to get some planning done. So if you have thoughts, you want to let us know soon.
In the Greater Les universe, Leisha Haley and Kate Monig are writing a book all about the L Word and their gay escapades. We cannot wait to see it. The L Word still slaps. Oh, wait. I have one other thing. There is a new lesbian bar in Boston called Danny's Queer Bar. And I was talking to the queer bartender, and we were talking about the L Word. And I just thought that that was like the gayest possible moment I could have at a queer bar. But I also wanted to tell everyone who's in Boston, I think you probably already know, but like you'll probably see me. If you live in Boston, if you want to ever see me, show up to Danny's Queer Bar. I'll just be sitting at the bar by myself, making new friends. That's what I've done every single time I've gone by myself.
Incredible. In other gay news, gay icon The Babadook turns 10 years old this year.
Our little monsters are all grown up.
They grow up so fast, Ellie, you know? And so, listen, as there is, no greater gay icon than horror monster The Babadook, we just wanted to honor this really auspicious anniversary of his. Happy 10th birthday, Babadook.
Also, at the VMAs, first of all, VMAs, so gay. But particularly wanted to talk about Sabrina Carpenter kissing a transgender alien, which sent me at the VMAs.
Incredible.
So Sabrina Carpenter, you are an icon. Thank you for what. And Britney Spears also commented on it and was like, "Why did you kiss an alien and not a woman?" And I'm like, Britney, we love you too.
Valid question. Honestly,
Right?
we'd like an answer. That's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee.
Thanks, Ellie and Lee, and welcome to our 132nd installment of Should Have Been Gay.
Oh, it was fun, it was great, but it should have been a little more gay.
And in this week's episode, strap on your fairy wings. We are saving the monarchy, bitches. That's what we're doing.
Love it.
Is that what we're doing? That's what we're doing.
That is the point of our podcast, yes.
Yes, that's why we're here, right? That's our goal every week. God save the queen. But we are joined on this fantastic quest with a very special guest. We have Iz Hesketh, who is a British working-class queer actress, best known for her roles in the soap opera Hollyoaks and Disney Plus's Renegade Nell. Iz, we are so excited to have you here.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited. I've only ever done one podcast before. And that was kind of before I took my venture into TV. So this is like really, really exciting for me. I'm so excited.
We're very
love
excited
this
to have
for
you
you.
here. Mm-hmm. And super excited because, we're going to be talking about Renegade Nell, which you were part of. Can you maybe... Wait, should we do the IMDb synopsis first, or do you want to talk about...
No. Let's talk about it first and then dive in. I think that'll be...
Okay, yeah. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about like how you got into that? Because it was a pretty big role for you and also just like for the queer community as a whole.
Yeah. So it kind of honestly just kind of happened. Um, I was in. So hang on. I basically, long story short, I was in a musical at the time, and the reception for me being in the musical wasn't the best in like the musical theatre world. And I kind of realized I was like, this is not for me. I'm washing my hands of musical theatre. I can't do it anymore. I need to focus on TV and film. I need to move on to a different medium. So I said to my agent, I was like, I'm doing TV and film. I don't have any formal training. I'd never done a lesson. I'd never done an acting for camera lesson. I was like, but I need to do it. He was like, okay, sweet. We'll get you in for things. So I started to audition, and I was in the room for other things. And then I got this through, and I read the script at first, and it was like, please use an RP accent. And I don't have anywhere near an RP accent, obviously, as you can hear. And I couldn't even read the name Lady Eularia Mogahanger. And I had to say it like 4 times in a scene. And I was like, there's no way. I was saying to my cast, I was like, there's no way I'm going to get this. Like, this is so funny. I was like, it'll be camp if I did, but like, there's just no way. So I was like, I'll do the tape, whatever. Did the tape, and then got an immediate call back. Kind of, I think it was the day after. So on the day, on the Friday, I was on a Zoom call with Lauren Evans, who obviously cast the show, and someone from Lookout Point, but I can't remember who. And I simply just had to read 2 scenes, which was like one of the longer scenes, which was about Nell being dressed as a doctor. And then I just had to do a scene where they were mainly looking for reactions. And I think that was the main thing they were looking for. Valerian was like someone with like good comedy timing in terms of like reaction to text. Like when we were filming, I did a lot of like, okay, now we're just going to get a close up of Iz rolling her eyes. And like, there was just a lot of that. So did that on the Friday, and then went to do the show, and then was getting ready for the show. And at like it was like 7:15 p.m. Show goes up at past 30, and like I'd had like maybe my lashes on and like some eyeshadow, and like I was running a little bit behind anyway. And then my agent just rings me and goes, babe, I need your measurements. And I was like, oh, okay, what for? And he was like, Disney want to start making your costumes tomorrow. And I was like, what? And he was like, you got the job. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
And I screamed so loud that our changing rooms were like little pods. So it was like a long hallway, kind of like dorm rooms, but like small rooms. I screamed so loud that everyone ran out and was like, what? And I was like, I got the job. And I like couldn't believe it, because it was like one of the like maybe my second TV thing that I'd like kind of properly auditioned for. And yeah, went straight into it, not having a clue about what I was doing. I'd never even done, like I say, I'd never even done an acting for camera lesson. I'm blessed to have been put with Jolie Richardson. She was just like an absolute mentor to me. She was an absolute mentor to me. And she at the end of the first day filming, I was like, thank you so much. Like, I've been really appreciative of like watching you today, and I've learned a lot from you. And she like looked at me a little bit funny, and I was like, it's like my first time ever being on a set. And she went, what? And I was like, yeah, it's my first day like filming anything. And she was like, it's your first day filming anything? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, darling, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. And like from the get-go, she like really swept me up, and I call her my TV mom, because
I love that.
She's really, really supportive, and we still speak a lot, and we have a really, really special relationship. And she really helped me out of the rut that I was in at the time of kind of being like, boo-hoo, I don't like musical theatre anymore. And she really helped me kind of get out of that. Sorry, I went on a tangent. I've got horrendous ADHD.
Honestly,
so
it was a great tangent.
No,
I was on the edge of my seat for every part of that.
I imagine we're going to loop back around with more questions as well, because I'm already just like, and how many months did they need to make those costumes? Because Jesus Christ, they are intense.
Yeah, they were intense to wear, especially in the like heat of summer that I filmed all of my stuff in. Like, I think I did most of my stuff. Well, I did all of my stuff between June to November time. So like, and I think I only did like 2 weeks of filming in October and November. So majority of my stuff was like the height of summer. And they were not exactly cool. I'll say that.
Yeah, no.
Can't
no
imagine
kidding.
that they would
Yeah.
be.
Incredible. Should we dive in to Renegade Nell?
Yeah,
Let's do it. Let's
all
do
of
it.
all of the what's about to come. I hope people are ready. We're gonna start, as always, with our IMDb synopsis for Disney Plus's Renegade Nell, which is as follows. A quick-witted and courageous young woman framed for murder unexpectedly becomes the most notorious outlaw in 18th century England. When a magical spirit called Billy appears, Nell realizes her destiny is bigger than she ever imagined.
Ooh.
Hot stuff. Iz, if you had to give us a gayer synopsis, what would be your gay synopsis for Renegade Nell?
18th century gender non-conforming, slightly butch lesy woman goes on adventure with fairy and discovers that she is born to do something she didn't realize she was born to do, and lots of fun things happen. And people you think are bad aren't bad, and people you think aren't bad are bad, and nothing is to be expected, and I'm in it.
Which makes it real gay.
It makes it real gay.
Sold.
No,
Okay.
she has a bit like of a queer romance at one point, and I wish there'd been more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Hard same.
Yes.
Ellie,
Hard
what about
same.
you? What
Okay,
would be your gay synopsis?
So here's mine. Big old lesbian Nell fights horrible men, cross-dresses, delivers babies, and kisses gentle women as she's on the run from the law. It's my short
I
and
love
sweet.
Love
And
the
when I say
cross-dresses
cross-dresses, I feel like when she's in a dress, she's cross-dressing.
bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
fully.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like there was one point on set that me and Louisa were talking, and I was like, she's trans, right? Like,
Mhm.
come on.
Yeah.
She's either trans or a really mask lesbian.
Yes,
like,
she's like Butch City, or
she's
she is
so
trans.
she's so
Yeah.
on the precipice of like at least genderqueer, or like,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, it was just yeah, it's really interesting, and that's why I'm really sad we haven't been renewed, because I'm like, there's so much more to explore there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't call me Nelly, she says. Anyways, here's my gay synopsis. I would say a butch and a fairy go woke in the most yes queen way as they try to save England from economic inequality and also the Jacobites in this inexplicable Disney romp.
They were both so much better than mine. I'm so happy you're both here.
We have a lot of experience. What, 132. This is our 132nd episode.
That's so much fun.
Yes. In case you're wondering if anything wasn't gay, the answer is no. We have yet to encounter a straight piece of media is sort of the general
come
theme
on.
of this
Everything
bit
is
at this
least
point.
queer coded in some way. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
And if
this,
it wasn't,
yeah,
it should have been. So
yeah.
hey,
But
exactly.
this
Or
one's
the
like
subliminal
much,
text is
yeah.
that it is.
This one's pretty straightforward queer to me. I was texting Lee. I was like, so we're supposed to do a should have been gay on this? Like it is gay, but I think we can still.
So gay.
It's not gay enough, I think, is where we're gonna go. So we
Oh
can
no, it
dive
could be
into
so
that.
much gayer.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
So much gayer.
Well, what was your experience with Renegade Nell?
It's just a quick short synopsis, like
It was honestly kind of almost still can't believe it happened. Like I'm such a huge Disney kid, as I'm sure kind of everyone is, right? It's always been a huge dream of mine to like have a Disney character which is my Disney character. I still kind of can't believe that is a thing that's happened to me once in my life. And also the Disney and everyone sent a huge email out after we didn't get renewed saying like, we just want everyone to know that we loved working with all of you, and at the earliest opportunity we'd love to work with all of you again. So I'm like, Disney, remember that next time you need a tranny, like
Yeah.
Next time you need one of the dolls, just
Did you write that exact
hit me
email?
up, babe.
Yeah.
Those
me
exact
up.
words in an email back.
CC Disney.
Yeah, CC Disney, hit me up next time you need a doll. It was funny because sorry, I'm just creaming my lips. I'm so obsessed with having moisturized lips that I just
listen.
simply
I
must.
feel like we should explain for our listeners who are not getting the visual that we are getting that like it is currently, what did we decide? 1 a.m. in London.
It's 1 a.m. Yeah.
Iz looks better than I have ever looked in my life.
No way.
Yeah, it's 8:30
So yeah, sure.
over.
Touch up the lips.
It's
okay,
8:30 over
please.
here for me. I'm like in my pajamas, like.
It's
and Iz
5:30.
is like,
I'm
let me
in
fix my lips.
a pair of men's joggers and a t-shirt. Okay, so like it's fine. It's fine. We're all feeling good. Okay.
No, my lips just felt dry, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need some cream on those. Jesus.
We were thinking it, but we didn't want to say it. But yeah, sure.
No,
Sure.
tell me next time, Jesus. Nell was brilliant. It was a dream come true. I feel like almost it, I kind of felt the whole time it was happening, I like kind of didn't deserve it. And not didn't deserve it in the sense of like I haven't worked hard and I'm not talented and blah blah blah. But I think because it was my first TV job, and I like had my own trailer. And someone was coming to me every morning asking what I wanted for breakfast. And I was like, oh, like, where is it? And they were like, oh, no, we bring it to you. And I was like, huh? Like, when they were like, oh, yeah, so your car will come and pick you up 4:30. And I was like, my car? What do you mean? Like, I'm from a council estate. You know what I mean? Like, we only just about had a car when I grew up. And you're now telling me that a car is coming to pick me up. Like, it was just insane. And all of the teams across all of the wards were just incredible. Everyone will say that to you. If you spoke to anyone about the show, like it was just so easy to film because everyone across from top to bottom of the hierarchical pyramid that is TV, everyone was just so amazing, easy to get on with, up for a laugh. It was just such good crack. Like, and don't get me wrong, the filming days were long. And it was hard because of all that, you know, like when you're in period costumes, like it's not easy to film and stuff like that. There were times where me and Jolie had to ask for breaks because we felt like we were going to faint. Like, but just everyone was just absolutely up for it. And also everyone was fucking brilliant. Oh, can I swear?
Yes,
you
can.
absolutely can.
Unreal, because I've got such a potty mouth. Everyone was fucking unreal at their jobs. Like everyone, from runners to hair to makeup to costume to actors, like to directors to first to seconds. Everyone was just shit hot at their job, which also really helps, right? And it was just an absolute dream come true, and it just came at exactly the right time in my life, and it will always be the job that I think really changed my life.
I love it.
Love that. Super excited to get to talk more with you about that.
Same.
Lee, what was your personal experience with Renegade Nell?
My personal experience is
yeah, please let me know what you both thought.
I
only know what all my friends thought.
So I'll start because I mentioned before we started recording, I have children, so I'm in the Disney Plus app like a decent amount, but I also never have time to watch anything, right? So I can't remember when I saw it. It was like when I first saw the like thing that popped up on the main page, and we were both like huge Dairy Girls fans, right? And so I saw Louisa pop up, and she pops up in like this clear men's outfit, and I was just like, yes, done. I think it's been on our list for a while, and then in the typical way of my life, I like binged watch it in like the last week to
yeah.
to record because I was like, I have to do it, and I was like, I can't not. I want to watch the whole show, so I did it. I made it. What a blast. What a blast of a show. I mean, it's insane. I wish it had gotten more episodes because I do think they were trying to shove a lot in a short number of episodes, and you could tell.
It got to the point where I was like, so I was really cheeky and I actually didn't read anything past where my last scene was. Because I was like, I want it to be a surprise. And obviously I knew I wasn't detrimental to the story. Like, you could have taken Valerian out and nothing would have changed.
Yeah.
Well, not nothing would have changed, but you know what I mean? Like, it could have been
Who would
done
have carried the dog? What do you mean nothing would have changed? That dog would have had to walk all by itself.
Who
How
would
dare
have rolled
you?
their eyes at the end of every scene? Who would have pushed past people in rude ways? No, but like it was obvious that I wasn't like detriment to the story. So after my last scene, I was like, I'm not going to read any more of the script. I'm going to leave it and I was gagged because I didn't know what happened at the end. And I was like, oh my God, this is insane. But as I got past the last little section, I was like, I feel like there's a lot to wrap up and I actually don't know what happens.
Yeah.
So I really agree. I wish it had been more like 10 episodes.
It's honestly the thing of like watching TV these days, as someone who grew up like as a big lover of genre shows back when they used to have like 24 episode seasons, you know, like I'm thinking back to like my prime like Buffy days and stuff, and I'm like, man, this show needed like at least twice as many episodes.
Completely agree.
To really flesh things out, because I have a lot of questions and I can't believe there's not going to be another season to like hopefully help answer any of them, but that's okay. We'll headcanon it all for ourselves.
Hey,
and I do feel like we can maybe dive into this more, but it's like, because it was probably too gay. Like, they love to cancel the gay fucking shit.
Hey, true.
I swear to God.
It's
justice for Polly. Sorry, we're gonna get into it. What? Ellie, what was your
And also, like, it was so gay, but also so inclusive in so many other ways as well. I think it's gonna be one of those things where it gets looked at in 10 years' time and everyone goes, oh, it was too ahead of its time. And that's why it's It's
100%. Just like Jennifer's Body.
Yeah. Truly though. Yeah.
Exactly.
For real.
I do feel like it does have very cult classic vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
I also like just recently watched it. Same thing. Dairy Girls is my shit. Love. And I just feel like it was so interesting to see Louisa also in something different because she's so different.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
Fun
of course,
fact,
the jump from Orla
to
action star Nell.
Yeah, it's like so
really
different.
Crazy. Well,
It's
I
something.
actually didn't. My first scene was the scene where Nell is pretending to be a doctor. That was the first scene. Well, no, that was my second day, sorry. And I had never watched Derry Girls. Not through lack of... So I've got that... I do that ADHD thing where when everyone tells you to watch something, I simply cannot watch it whilst it's popular because I feel like you're telling me what to do and I don't want to do it. So I hadn't watched Derry Girls yet. And I hadn't actually even like really taken in any of their faces. Like, I suppose if I really looked at her, I maybe would have gone, oh yeah, I do know you. But I just thought I knew her face from the makeup trailer. So I was sat with her one day and I was like, oh, so like, what, have you done much? And she was like, yeah, I've done a couple of things. And like, me and Louisa like really, really got on. We got really close. And she was just like, yeah, I've done a few bits and bobs and like played it off really cool. Like Louisa, she's so cool, by the way. Like, she's just like the like chillest kind of like coolest person. And I was like, oh, sweet. And we like found out we went to drama school at like kind of similar times. And then I realized who she was the night I went home. And I was like, oh, I should probably watch Derry Girls.
That's so
funny.
funny.
I kind of watched Derry Girls as we were filming. And I kept coming in and being like, you're unreal. Like, you're so different. Like, obviously I knew she was unreal from being on set with her. Yeah. But then I watched her do this. Like, I did the opposite to what everyone else did. Because I was watching her on set being Nell, and then going home and watching her be all that and being like, what? How is she this multifaceted of a performer that she can like really switch it up? And she's such a brilliant actress. She's done so many amazing plays and stuff just kind of immediately after the show. And I just think she's brilliant. She's incredible. She's a lovely person. She's so humble, like scarily humble. It's crazy. And so beautiful as well.
I feel so like the jump from Orla to Nell feels like I'm not big into the Star Wars stuff, but you know how Manny Jacinto went from like the good place playing Jason to like playing this like dark, broody, like bad guy.
It's fully like two opposite ends of the
spectrum.
Yeah, it's
in
crazy.
What's he in, like the Acolyte or something? Like I feel like that's her. This is the her version, you know?
Yeah, completely.
It's a good move too, like as an actor, to do two completely different things because then you don't get pigeonholed. But yeah, I think it's definitely like campy. It's like action. It's got a lot of gay shit, so which we will dive into. So yeah, I was vibing.
I'm glad you both enjoyed it.
Let's dig into the gayness of it all.
Listen, these gay bitches, like, how are we not gonna like this show?
I know.
This show,
we're the
that
target
maybe,
demographic.
Okay, can I dive us in with, like, this show opens up and, like, straight out the gate, you have this, like, flouncy, fabulous, fantastic gay man, like, committing highway robbery, and then Nell rides in like, men's clothing, and I swear to God, like, a fucking Xena soundtrack, like, riding in with her.
Yeah.
And then she just, like, beats the shit out of a bunch of men. I was like, I mean, yeah, sure, just, like, you know, get a cup of tea and settle in for the night.
Yeah, it's a good start, yeah.
I remember the first time we watched that scene, and it was in they call it the Blitz, right? Is it the Blitz when they show like a I think they call it a Blitz when they've got like a bit of footage that they want to like show the producers or something, just to show the show's going well.
Oh,
okay.
Gotcha.
I can't remember. Anyway, whatever that is, I remember seeing that one day in the trailer, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to see it?" And they were like, "Yeah." They were like, "Some of the CGI has to be worked out, but like the fight scene looks amazing." And I was like, "Unreal." And I remember like peering over. We were all in the makeup trailer, like huddled over all around this one like little iPad. And I remember my jaw was literally on the floor. I remember just being like, this is unreal. And it was one of the moments where I had to step back and be like, you're a part of that. And I think also because I hadn't seen myself on TV in anything before, obviously because I hadn't done anything else. I was just watching this thinking like, how do you fit into that? Like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
It was just so cool to watch the fight scene with that being the first thing that I watched. I was like, this is sick. It was just done so well as well. And the stunt double was incredible. And Louisa was great at making it look like she was bouncing around the gaff. It was fab.
Yeah. Also, what is this guy's name at the beginning? Lee? What's that?
Frank.
Isambard?
Yeah.
Yes,
I also
Isambard
feel
Tully.
like the thread where they're like what the cross-dressing scene always just comes up for me, because I'm like, when they are pretending to be together, I'm like, this is beard central.
Oh, God.
100%.
Yeah.
Because like,
It's just a beard and a
he's
beard.
very queer coded as well. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
He
Be
is
gay.
flouncy. He is poofy. He is... What are the words we can come up with?
I can think of one very strong.
Yeah.
He's got a vibe, okay?
Yeah,
It's-
like babe.
It's a gay vibe.
About as flamboyant as she can.
Yes. Yeah.
It's giving like gay boy in the gay club, and then the lesbian comes in and he's like, "You're not welcome here," and she's like, "Well, I'll just beat the shit out of you."
Yeah, very that.
Oh, it's
And
crazy.
literally also just the way that he immediately is. He's like, "Oh, I like you." And you can just tell that he's like, a dyke. I need one of those to beard up with. Like, how convenient.
Completely.
Where do we want to start? If we dive in to maybe we'll open it up to you, Iz. If you want to start diving us into like, which character do we think most should have been gay in in Renegade Nell? Who do you want to start with? Because we got options, is all I'm gonna say.
Okay, so let's start with Sophia.
Yes, please. Our dark
Because-
queen.
Our dark queen, and I fell in love with Alice whilst we were filming. She's so gay, and I think that was never explored really between her and Nell, and I feel like there is kind of this tension, obviously because she wants her dead.
Yeah, it's like that fine line
but-
between like, do you want to kill her or do you want to be with her? You know, that old chestnut.
Yeah, it's like that whole like, you look at a girl and you're like, do I want to be you or do I want to be in you?
Exactly.
Yeah, which I've been doing a lot recently. I've definitely become one of those trans girls that has got a year on hormones and gone, oh, I like girls as well. Okay, cool. And it happens to a lot of us
You're
apparently.
like,
Great.
do I want to be them or be with them? Both.
Yeah. Both. Great. Cool.
It's both.
Do my makeup
yeah,
in
it's
bed,
both.
please.
Yeah. And obviously Alice being a queer actor, and they're just a brilliant storyteller. But there was just so many layers to how they played Sophia, and I think like homoerotic was hugely one of them. Even like this like source of like, the sense of power. It was very like what you said before about Buffy.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very kind of like almost Buffy-esque to me, and it kind of like at any point she could have like hate fucked Nell.
Yeah, yes.
100% for me.
Yes.
Like,
Listen, that last episode cut off like maybe a couple minutes too early. That's all I'm gonna say.
100%.
That last scene where she's like, what is she? Okay, so they defeat Poynton. because she runs him through with a sword, and then she has this like very demanding, she's like, to Nell, she's like, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna tell the queen that like we were here and helped save the day and all this stuff. And then there's just this like moment where Nell's kind of like, no, question mark, and she just goes, please, like that's what you want to hear, right? And I was like, wow, you went to begging so fast in that scene.
So fast.
I'm like,
we're
you're
on
just
our hands. We're on our knees with our hands behind our back, essentially.
Yeah,
like,
I was
come
like,
on.
you don't need to tell me who you want to top you, Sophia. It's clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
fully.
It's
just,
we see what you're doing here, but
come on. Yeah, 100%.
that scene aside, the other thing that cracks me up about Sophia in the show is that they do a lot of parallels between Sophia and Nell that I found very funny, given that they made Nell the gayest fucking character on Earth. And the two that jump out at me that cracked me up, one is they both were like, I got married and then I guess my husband died, whoops. Feels
that really sucked.
Yeah, oh no, it's very convenient that they're both just like, oh, I start out the show with a dead husband, I'm just a single woman on the prowl out in the world making my way, right? And both of them are like, oh no, my husband died, but I have zero interest in looking at another man, being like seeing another man, talking to another man. They're like, I just want to fuck the patriarchy and like make my own way.
Yeah.
The other one that cracked me up is I think it's in like, it must be in episode like 2 or 3 or something. So we've been watching Nell ride around in her little like tricorn hat and the little, you know, like.
And then all of a sudden Sophia's got one on.
Yes, she like busts out on this horse when she's going after her down to like where is that, in Slough or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so she like busts out on her horse and she's like, I'm coming too. And she has her own little tricorn hat on. And I was just like, oh, you gay bitch.
You gay ass bitch. Fully.
Who did the wardrobe for this? And were they also queer?
They were queer. It was Tom.
Love it.
Give me a second to find his full name.
Snaps for you,
Not
Tom.
surprised. You know what I love about having like someone who's actually on the show on? Is like we always, I feel like, speculate about these things. We're like, the wardrobe people must have been gay. And then you're like, oh no, yeah, they were.
Listen, it wouldn't surprise me also, because this is Sally Wainwright did this, and also for all of our listeners, also the creator of Gentleman Jack was the creator of this show, so like that's a gay show.
It is also so obvious, like it's so Gentleman Jack coded.
Gentleman Jack, if Ann Lister could do a sick flip, you know, is like really really where we're at.
So Tom Pye was the costume designer, and he is a queer man as far as I'm aware, and he is just fucking unreal at his job. Like I've never felt so. I felt so supportive. He was like, basically when I came in, I don't know if Valerian was always meant to be this like gender non-conforming kind of non-binary character, or whether they changed that when I got the role, because I know that the pronouns got changed when I got the role, but I think they were always open to that, if that makes sense. And when we were first having meetings with Tom, I just remember being like, you know, like, how are we gonna kind of show that in the costumes? And like, it not that androgyny equals non-binary, but he was like, I was thinking, basically he had mood boards of everyone up on the room as all costume designers do at the start of a project, and mine and Jolie's were next to each other, and it was just like Lady Gaga, drag queens, a couple of 17th century, like 18th century silhouettes, but like not many. And he was just like, basically, I want you to be in kind of like 17th, 18th century drag, like, and he was like, I want it to kind of push more towards like 18th, late 18th, because I want you to be like really fashion forward. And we made my costume so I had a bustle under my jacket, and my jacket was like twice as long as it should have been, because he wanted it to be really androgynous and like really feminine shape. And I wore like a 23-inch corset, like I literally couldn't breathe. And like I wore my own corset because I also do drag. alongside acting, and he was like, do you have your own corset that you're comfortable enough to wear that will basically make your waist as small as possible? And I was like, I've got you. Don't worry. And I won't be able to breathe in it, but it's fine. So we kind of fit all my costumes around my own personal corset, which was great because the other ones are so horrendous to wear. And like one of my costumes, my favorite one is the if you go on my Instagram, it's the picture that I used to post about the job. And it's like the gold with it's got like pink and blue feathers and like accents and stuff. And he did that for me because as we were playing around with colours, basically that was my first costume, and they realised they'd run out of time and they were just kind of having to make something that they could make new accessories for but use the same base. And he was like, so I can make you a different cape and blah, blah, blah. And we found this ribbon and it was blue, pink and white. And he just pulled it out of a drawer and he wasn't even thinking. And he was like ruffling it on the shoulder. And I was like, have you realised that they're the trans flag colours?
That's
and he
amazing.
was like, no, but brilliant. And he like looked me dead in the eyes and he was like, do you want that? And I was like, I want that so bad.
That's amazing.
So like in the hat, I have like a big blue and pink feather and there's like blue and pink. Even my brooch was like a little blue stone with a little pink stone underneath it, like every single detail. And he was he listened to me and he said, he like kind of let me almost decide what I want, like, and decide what I wanted. And well, not decide what I wanted, but like he was so open to ideas. And I love costume design, and it's always been something that had I not kind of succeeded as an actor or should I want to change career when I get older, it's kind of like my second passion, you know, costume and makeup and stuff. And yeah, that's definitely something that I'm interested in and have a passion for. So, you know, I was like, oh well, maybe if we drape the cape this way, and how do you think about that? And I was like, what if my breeches were a little bit higher, or like my heel was a little bit lower or a little bit higher, or you know, what if we dyed my socks this color? And he was so open to like ideas and stuff. So he was just an absolute dream.
I love that. I love also just like, I love how specific it is and how like, I mean, as we're talking about, it should have been gay. It's like this show, like that's why I was trying to say at the beginning. The show's gay.
Show's
like
gay.
we're just
So
diving
gay.
a little
This
deeper.
is gonna be a should have been gayer for
Yeah,
sure. But
ER,
you know what I think is important.
Should have been
for,
gayer.
What I think is important for you and I, Ellie, in this is I think we can now decide that every time we speculate on the rampant
Yes,
queerness
that's so
of everyone
true.
involved with a show, we're probably
We're
right.
right.
We're probably
Oh,
right every time.
100%.
You
Well,
know?
and I feel like we do also talk about the colors. You're like, oh, this is like the wardrobe's like bisexual flag colors. I wonder if they did that on
Yes.
purpose. They're doing the trans flag on purpose. So we're probably,
Yeah.
we're always right. Lee.
We're always right.
Completely. And I'm not joking. If I've learnt one thing from starting TV now, I've started to like ruin plot points for myself as well, because you actually realise that nothing's by accident.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love
So if
that.
you're slightly too observant, you ruin things for yourself all the time.
Just
It's
don't
so
pay
annoying.
attention. Just stop
Even,
paying
like,
attention.
You heard it here first, folks. Everything is gay.
Everything
and
is
Ellie
gay.
and I are right at all times. Okay. Love this. Love this for us.
And even like the wigs and hair and makeup design, which was Tanya, I've forgotten her second name, Tanya Lodge. To my knowledge, not a queer woman, but is the campest, most amazing woman in the world.
I literally was just going to say, when you were describing how Valerian's outfits all came together, I was like, I love that also because they sort of paired Valerian next to Eularia, who looks like she is going to like the Met's camp ball, right? Like the Met Gala.
Both
camp.
of us at all times. There's a hilarious photo of me and Jolie, which I posted on Instagram. I was like kind of slumped over, and it was her idea. She was like, let's get a picture of us looking knackered, because honestly, it was hard work to wear those costumes. They weigh so much.
They look so heavy.
Weight. They're so heavy. The hats are so heavy. And then I had these wigs on, which were like yak hair. And like, they were just so warm. I had a face full of white makeup. And it was roasting hot sometimes. And like in the tiniest little thin, like winkle picker heels. But it was a dream. And also both teams, hair, makeup, costume, like we were looked after so well. But it was really cool. At one point I wore the same costume, the costume with the trans flag colours on. My cummerbund. Is that how you say that
Yes.
word?
Yeah.
Cummerbund.
Yeah. It was like a 200-year-old piece of fabric.
Wow.
And Tom was like, oh yeah, I got it at some auction somewhere and it's been in my kit for years and I've never found a use for it because it's such a small piece. But I think I'll use it for this. And I was like holding this 200-year-old piece of fabric. Like, how am I?
That's
how
so
is this a
crazy.
thing? It was just,
That's insane.
it was so cool.
Like, don't spill anything on it.
Yeah, right.
Well, I left it in the toilet at one point. Oh, my God.
No.
It was so my fault. So if I'm honest, when I was filming, I couldn't really drink or eat much on days we were filming, just because needing the toilet every 5 minutes is just not possible when you're in a corset, a shirt, breeches, a jacket, a cummerbund. So I wouldn't drink very much or eat very much. So me and Jolie were both like wafer thin by the end of filming because we like couldn't eat anything or drink anything.
Have you tried the 18th century corset diet? It's great.
Literally, just be in a period piece and I'm sure you'll lose some weight. And I remember being like one day to Sam, I was like, I'm so sorry. Sam looked after me. She was my main dresser and she was fucking brilliant. I remember going to her one time, I'm so sorry, but can we just call a 10-minute break because I really need to pee? And she was like, yeah, don't worry, like go for it. It was the first time I'd done it. Ran upstairs, like got myself undressed because I was like quite self-sufficient. Peed, got myself dressed, came back downstairs. She did all the final finishing touches and then we started filming again. And I remember looking over to her as I was filming a scene and she was like kind of going like this, like waving her hands under her neck and being like, just move to the left. And I was like, wait, what? And I was like trying to like obviously like pay attention to the film. And then she called stop and she was like, you don't have your cummerbund on. Where is it? And I was like, oh my God. I left it in the toilet. And we were in like these public toilet, like I'd used the toilets of like the listed building that we were in. So it was just this 200-year-old piece of fabric was just like left in the toilet somewhere. I don't know if we ever told anyone. So like this might be like.
Did you find it though? You found it.
My own secrets. Yeah,
right,
immediately,
it's
and
fine.
when we put it straight on.
Let us know if you want to cut it for your own.
Nothing, Tom. Nothing.
It never happened.
It's very me. It's very me to leave a 200-year-old piece of fabric in the toilet.
And that, listeners, is why Sophia is gay.
Yeah. Oh my God. Such a tangent.
Honestly, I love it.
I love it too. But that way we can easily hide your very, very never happened story from
if we need to.
Everyone. Yes.
But we don't. We're going to leave it in.
But we are going
to.
Fine. Yeah. Oh, we're for sure leaving it in. We are going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back and talk some more about why Renegade Nell should have been gay. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And as we head into Thanksgiving time, I want to start by thanking my wife, Kelsey, who has not only listened to just about every episode of this podcast for 8 seasons now, but who also is the only reason I'm able to make time to record it every week. She takes the kids, gets them dinner, and gets them ready for bed, just so that Ellie and I can come on and yell about gay things into each other's faces for an hour. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people you're grateful for in your life, including yourself. I've been in therapy for a long time now, and one thing that's so important about therapy is how it teaches you to be more intentional. And being intentional about gratitude and how to show that to the people you appreciate is just one of the many benefits that I've gotten from therapy over the years. If you've been thinking of starting therapy, consider giving BetterHelp a try. I know how hard it can be to find time for regular therapy, and BetterHelp is designed to be flexible and convenient for your schedule. You can fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to start being more intentional about gratitude in your life, visit betterhelp.com/letshangout today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/letshangout.
Let's hang out.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, and when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, and when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
So we talked about Sophia being gay. I mean, I feel like it's the elephant in the room, but we have to just talk about Nell. Like, there's so much to talk about. Nell
I
is
mean, come
so
on.
gay, right? From the beginning, right? She doesn't like to be dead named, right? She
Literally.
literally like changes her name and is like, just call me this.
It's the name
100%.
of the first episode. Like, episode 1 is titled Don't Call Me Nelly. And I'm like, there is no more iconic way to introduce, like, a very transmascoded character than to literally be
Funny.
like, don't fucking den name me, episode 1, period. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, Disney Plus, wow. Hot.
Yeah.
It is quite, it's
When-
so
when
progressive
we
for
were-
Disney Plus.
Fully. And like even the fact I was on the show
Yeah.
gagged me. And then to read the script and be like, oh my god, this whole show is essentially about a trans person.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just before the time of what maybe they would know what to call it. Like it was just I just remember being like, oh wow. And me and Louisa had a really interesting conversation when we finally first met and you know, like we're working together for those first couple of weeks. And she was like, it's so interesting because like Nell is trans or at least transcoded. And she was like, obviously that isn't my story personally, but she was like, that's such an interesting story to tell. And it's so layered and she's so I even don't love calling Nell she
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like if she was born now, she wouldn't ever use that pronoun. Will you say she for the fact that she's called that in the show? She's so queer in so many ways.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like gender identity. It's like she's obsessed with the women in the show throughout the whole show, and she never really has that moment with a man.
No.
So far from
It's just
it.
so interesting.
Let me-
so far from
Well,
it.
do you want to just
Even-
talk about like the entirety of episode 6, Lee?
I mean, yes, I want to get there. I do need to talk real quick just about like when you first meet Nell and she shows up and she is in her full men's getup a small little fairy man flies into her body. And
gives her the strength of 100
yeah,
men.
I was like, I feel like we're not even subtle with it, right?
Are we just taking a testosterone pill? Like,
Yeah,
what's
literally.
going-
Yeah, I
Do you
just
know
have
what
to
I mean?
inject like a tiny
Fairy
bit of man
hormones.
into my body. And then I become my real self, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Nell, okay. And then, like, episode 1, she's like, I'm gonna ride off and take the queen's coin. And I'm like, we are full Mulan over here. Is this what we're doing? Like,
completely.
it's so much. It's so much. And it does continue. I would like to say, because I was taking notes while I was watching the episodes, right? And even, I mean, as our segue into episode 6, literally when they rob that carriage, right, which, what is that, like episode 2 or something, where it's like they pull the whole like highway woman, you know, I gotta feed my sisters and whatever, and they rob that carriage, and I just have in all caps, like, the girl she robs at the end of that episode when she's like, oh, like, shouldn't you tie us up so that we don't run away? And she's like, oh, no.
And then she just goes.
And she's like, I don't have
pulls their
any.
wrists
Yeah,
together.
Nell goes, I don't have any rope. And so she's like, you'll just have to pretend. And the girl gives this little fake, like, oh, I'll just like cross my little arms over my chest like you've tied me up the way you're clearly doing in my imagination right now as I play out the scene that is, I am preparing to live back in my head 100 times in the next 4 days, you know?
Yeah.
It was so much already that then when episode 6 rolled around and you start with that voiceover from Polly, and I was like, me all episode just like, justice for Polly Honeycomb. You insane gay icon. I stan. I love her.
The fact that she's literally like, I cannot stand this man's nose hair. Like, I need my trans mask lover. Like,
yeah.
Wild.
That took me out. Like, I was so ready because I mean I had seen the things for the show, and I knew, I was like, I put it on our list. I was like, I don't even care. Like, this has to be gay enough that like we are gonna want to talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
So I was so unprepared for them to actually go there.
Really go there. Like, I was watching. My friends put on this little like viewing party for me, and we watched like the whole thing kind of basically in 24 hours. And we were sat there, and like we were at one point we were screaming at the TV because we were like, "Oh my god, she's so gay! Like, this is so gay."
That episode starts up, and she's like, "You're heroin, running away," like all this stuff, and she gets to this one line where she's like, "Yeah, like I need someone with like less body hair or like something." Like, what does she say? She's like, less, like they keep zooming in on the dude's nose hairs, and she's like, I need someone with less hair, like a highwayman perhaps, right? Like, and then she just keeps having these flashback visions of like wind-blown Nell robbing them, which again,
and also Ashna hits the nail on the head with that characterization. She's just like, it was perfect. It was so kitsch and like camp and like,
it's so
daydreaming.
good.
It was just brilliant.
It's so good.
She's fabulous.
But she has that line where when she realizes that it's not a highwayman, and she just goes, a highwayman woman? And like is immediately so much more into it. And I was like, oh fuck. Oh fuck. And then
the kiss.
Oh my gosh.
Which is like completely brushed over.
Which honestly
it just kind of happens, and then Nella's kind of like, oh, which has made me go, is she asexual? Listen, honestly, all queer identity arguments I'm gonna say you could make for the character Always
of Nell
possibilities.
Jackson. But I will say for a show,
Because she just kind of goes,
Yeah.
and then moves on.
For Roxy's into it though. Roxy's like, yes, get it, girl.
Yeah.
For a show that's as gay as this show is, I will say that the fact that they just don't even address it and then Polly disappears is the one hate crime. It's the only hate crime this show did. Give me Polly and Nell. That's all I want.
I know. When I was watching it, I was like, oh, I wish there'd been more of her.
Yeah.
Because I think Ashna was only in 3 eps. Yeah, 3X.
She gets a job and then she just like pieces the fuck out. And I'm like, incorrect. She would follow Nell to the ends of the earth. And you cannot convince me of anything otherwise.
Completely.
It's a discredit to the character of Polly Honeycomb, who I have decided is now my entire personality.
The campus name. Yeah.
Lee's gonna have like shirts made for Polly.
Yes, a shirt that just says "Gay bitch Polly Honeycomb." Okay, that's what it says.
It's gonna say "Highwayman Woman."
Get my exclusive line of Renegade Nell merch
and get sued by Disney.
Unofficial.
Yeah.
Please don't sue me, Disney.
Disney suing me would be less of a hate crime than what they did to Polly Honeycomb. That's all I have to say.
I love too that the kiss also comes. I don't know. It's like so like aggressive that Nell's just like
She's
delivered
just like, I'm
a
gonna
baby,
do it, and it has to be right.
But also
now.
like she literally was like, "You delivered a baby," and now I'm like, I need to kiss you immediately. Like it's so intense.
But here's why it's so good, because while they're listening to that woman give birth, right, and she's talking to George and she's like, the miracle of birth is not for me or something, right? And then Nell walks out
she's
like,
never
holding
mind
that baby. The immediate 180 from that sentence to like, put a baby in me, Nell Jackson, that Polly
fully
goes, is so fast and so just really, it's just a really queer moment is all. I really enjoyed that.
Completely.
Yes.
I feel like we should talk a little bit real quick about what I think is possibly one of the other gayest moments of the show, which is when you're suddenly in a musical for no reason at all.
Oh my god. So I didn't know that was happening. I don't know how I must have glossed over that piece. Do you know how furious I was?
I know. Where was Valerian in
being that? Being one of the only main cast members to have a 6-year-long musical theatre career, and I wasn't in the musical number.
Do you want to add to our list of hate crimes that Renegade Nell has committed against us?
Yeah, that is the hate crime that just needed to me.
I think is that episode 7 where it just opens and all of a sudden there's just a man singing and then like all of London town is like breaking out into song, and I was like, what is happening? Of course we're in a musical. There's nothing gayer than that.
It's just so gay. And I remember being like, I went first day I went into the makeup trailer, I saw my friend Jay's headshot on the wall, and I was like, why is Jay's on this? Cool. Didn't know Jay ever ventured into TV. And when I messaged him, he was like, yeah, I'm in this like little musical number. I was like, there's a musical number and I don't know about it. I was furious.
So rude.
Yeah, rude. Also, I love
rude.
I love the show because listen, if you love genre shows like I do, where you're just like, nothing, it doesn't have to make sense, right? Like I love that it is just George climbing up into like the little loft of the printer and singing at Sophia in Eulalia that like saves the day, and you're like, of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
Of course.
Why wouldn't it be a small girl named George singing at you that breaks the spell? I mean, it makes as much sense as anything else could, right? Okay, what else is... Oh, I have one other little George shout out real quick.
Yes.
Which is, there's a moment where George, when they steal the glasses from everyone, and George has this little moment that she is like, she's wearing these glasses and they're in the forest, and she looks up and she's like, oh my god, she's like, I can see all the leaves on the trees. And as a gay person of a certain age, there is no way that anyone watching that does not go, Grey's Anatomy, Erica Hahn talking about coming out. It's like getting glasses and you can see all the leaves in the trees for the first time. So I just think sometimes where I'm like, when you have a show that is clearly like a gay show, I'm like, that has to be, like, that's like an real intentional little Grey's Anatomy shout out to give 100%. George her little queer moment too. Cause like her name's George already. So like,
I know.
She's well on her way.
And she's very tomboy in the show.
I love her.
So brilliantly.
Okay, those are my other very important notes to hit. What else? What are we missing? What other things do we have to talk about?
And also the fact there's literally just like a non-binary gossip newspaper's assistant and nobody bats an eyelid over it, and it's just like accepted. Like, not to talk about myself, but like...
You should.
Like I said, I think they changed it after casting me, and they were just like, yeah, sweet, let's change it. And then it was never mentioned. Like, it just was, and it was so cool. And yeah, it's just like very glaringly obvious, I think, as well.
Yeah.
and just kind of accepted by all the cast. And like the cast is so diverse in so many ways, like so many people from all different ethnicities and all different genders, and so many of us are queer, that to have that representation of that kind of character for me, and to be able to be that character, but also kind of it just have nothing to do with the character, was just so cool to me, because I was just simply telling a story in that time period, and it didn't have anything to do with that. It just was. And that's why I'm gutted we didn't have a season 2, because obviously I have since gone further with my transition and came out as a trans woman, and I spoke to my agent a while ago about if a season 2 was to come around, and kind of how we think they battle that. And I would love Valerian to have become Valeria.
Oh my God, yes.
Can you imagine if like I just came back for season 2 and I was in like a full puss gown?
Yes, say whatever you want. Well,
Yeah,
also it would just be like,
if I was just in like the cuntiest
let's
little
just like
gown,
lean into the
like,
trans rep. Like this is just like trans show.
Surely. Like fully. And I'm so proud to have been kind of the person to have fully been like, oh no, that character is trans. Like that is canonic. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm canonically, I think factually, I'm the first trans character Disney have had in a live action series.
We're golf clapping as we do on our podcast.
Yeah. Literally, that's so amazing. Like for you to be that must feel so like exciting.
It's mad. It's mental to me. I can't even. I think they had like one trans woman on Raven's Home, but this is the first non-binary character they've had in like a live action kind of series. There was a non-binary character in a film. Oh, I want to say it's something to do with like space, but it was like a quite like a young kids film. And then they've had a non-binary character in a cartoon. So like to be one of 4,
it's huge.
Trans characters that Disney have ever had.
And the other thing is, like you were saying, it really highlights how easily you can do it. It's not that hard.
Because you just don't mention it. It just
doesn't even matter. The same way that honestly, like I know listen, I'm gonna ride my Polly Honeycomb soapbox to death, but I honestly almost love that it just like it's never mentioned. Like no one makes a big deal about it. No one has like Roxy doesn't have to have a heart to heart with Nell about like, oh my gosh, Polly kissed you. How are you? What does this mean?
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Do you want that? How would that work? What would you do? Right? Like it's just never talked about. You just kind of it feels like it's more of Nell being like, oh, I have like a groupie that I didn't sign up for really, who now just sort of like follows me around and like gasps when I do heroic things, right?
Yeah.
More than anything else. And I'm like, that's really that's all it has to be. Like you can just have a non-binary character there being campy and fabulous and vaguely bitchy, and like who cares?
Vaguely or like
fully bitchy. And like
at the end of every filming day, did we end with, okay, we're just going to do a close-up on Iz rolling her eyes? Great. Okay, gorgeous.
I know.
Like, at the end of every single day, it was just like...
beginning when you're like, I basically got cast because I'm good at rolling my eyes. Like, that's
it.
Fully. Like, fully. Because, like, it was all about my reactions to things. And, like, there were sections where, like, I was like, that definitely should have been on the other person. But the shot was on me, like, rolling my eyes and, like, pushing something out of the way or something. Like... But me and Louisa had this conversation about how because I said that, you know, the show is so like racially diverse and there's so many queer actors and even the storylines, like people could have a lot to say about how there wouldn't be a non-binary person in the 17th century, or there wouldn't be a Southeast Asian person in the, you know, or anyone black or anyone, do you know what I mean? Like there's so many things that people could say, well, that wouldn't happen in that time. But I remember speaking to Louisa about it, and Louisa was like, well, there weren't fucking fairies either. But there are fairies in the show. Like, we're what's the phrase? Suspending belief?
Yeah.
Suspending disbelief? Is that, yeah. We're suspending belief anyway. So why don't we just do it fully? It's like anything fantasy.
Also...
Cast more diversely, please, because... nothing's real anyway.
Also such a funny thing to say about 18th century royalty, money, people who basically lived in drag anyways. I'm like, they're all in fucking heels and wigs and like I mean,
fully.
it's a lot to begin with. So like Valerian's pushing
Like,
the envelope,
yeah.
but like only a little, really.
Only a little bit.
Comparatively, yeah.
There was actually a little scene where, as well, that I get some information from one of like the runner boys. I remember the director at the time, MJ, who also directed Ted Lasso. She also directed Ted Lasso. I remember her going to me like, you can give whatever context you want to this little scene, but like maybe he's your boyfriend. And I was like, okay, great. And if you look at us in the back of the scene, he's fully my boyfriend. Like we decided that that's what it was, and it was so much fun to kind of add those little layers that kind of no one really knows about, but like it was a thing.
I love that. Okay, anything else we have to cover, Ellie, or should we do ships real quick?
I feel like that's really it. Let's dive into the ships.
It's gonna be a brawl, I think, doing ships this time.
Fine, Lee, you say your top one first then.
No, please. I would never. Our guest is.
All right, sorry.
Who's your ship in Renegade Nell?
Okay. Ooh, my top one, I have to be honest and say it is Nell and Sophia. Only for the sheer fact that I love the fact like Polly is absolutely besotted with Nell, but I don't think it's quite as reciprocated as I would like it to be. Whereas like with the Nell and Sophia stuff, like you say in that last episode when she's like basically on her knees with her hands behind her back, I'm like, that's it. That's hot to me. Yeah, that's
so
the
enemies
one that
to
I want.
lovers, you're saying, is a thing you'd be into. Okay.
Yeah, fully. Isn't that always the one that you're like, yeah,
Season 2. Bring
damn
it.
Season 2.
Lots of
okay.
fanfic.
Now, the one thing that I will say is going to be harder here, though, is what's their ship name?
Ooh. Cell? No?
Yeah. Nofia.
Nofia?
I like Nofia because it sounds a little bit like Nokia.
Nofia? Yeah, Nofia's cute. Cell doesn't quite have the same
It's
name.
it's vaguely reminiscent of like a Nokia phone, Nokia. Yeah.
I like it.
Nofia. What about you guys? What's
Leah,
yours?
I feel like it's really it's Nell and Polly for you, obviously, right?
I do love Nell and Polly. I just wanted them to have more time, Honestly, I think I loved Polly as a character. She's unhinged. She's got that, like, I love when characters in shows get their little, like, I have main character energy moments. I always find that to be just like comedic gold. I don't know why it works so well for me, but I'm always into it. So I do feel like Nell and Polly could have a chance, if Nell just opened herself up to love a little.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And Nolly is also not great, but
no.
But you can't make them Nelly because
Nell is tough.
Nelly,
Nell is tough for ship name. I will say, like, I don't know if there's any other ships for me left though.
I feel like, to me, I want to ship Isambard / Charles with someone. And I don't know who in my mind immediately landed on Thomas, which is problematic in so many ways, but he's a little twinky.
He is quite twinky. Yeah.
Like,
famously known as the twink with the mullet on TikTok.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Thomas.
Someone did make a TikTok and was like, and that twink with the mullet.
And the character has twink energy too. Because, like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Daddy issues.
Yeah, exactly. He's got daddy issues. He's got a wig. Like, he's trying to beard up with the hottest girl in town. Like, gay behavior, my man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, we're going to head into our Q and gay.
Q and gay.
Question number 1. Who is the gayest? A, Nell. B, Devereaux. C, Sophia. Or D, Polly?
Nell.
It's an obvious answer.
It's gotta be.
Justice for Polly.
Justice for, and Polly, to be fair. Polly is such a little femme.
Can I tell you, I literally considered writing my gay synopsis as, like, your faithful heroine, Polly Honeycomb.
Yeah.
Love it.
I had to stop myself. Okay, question 2. Pick a new name out of A, Isambard, B, Eularia, C, Valerian, or D, George.
I would say Eularia, just because I loved saying those lines, and I'd be like, Eularia Mogahang, and it felt so cool in the accent I had to put on, because in my own accent, Eularia, it doesn't sound quite as nice. But if I put the, like, cheeky RP on, definitely Eularia.
It's classy.
classy, which I'm not really. Well, I am very rarely, but not really much.
That's called
Eulalia.
acting.
Yeah, hey. If you ever see me be classy, I'm definitely acting.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
All right, question number
Thank
3,
you.
which we sort of already answered. Who do you ship Nell with? A. Sophia or B. Polly?
It's got to be Sophia for me.
I look forward to the Twitter answer because we'll put these up on our Twitter as well. I look forward to that poll answer and seeing what people say. Question 4, important question. How would you have died in the 18th century? A. Jail fever. B. Gunshot. C. Hanging. Or D. Dark arts?
Oh.
They seem
I
dangerous.
feel like Valerian probably would have been dark arts because at one point they would have been like, oh, by the way, I'm a woman, so let's like figure out how to transition in like the 17th century, and then they would have gone somewhere, and then they would have wanted a pair of boobs and ended up with their head off their body, probably.
Yeah, the HRT potion attempts go
Transition
wrong
gone
so
wrong.
fast.
Yeah, the HRT potion attempts would have just like ended up clotting their blood or something. I don't know.
That's so funny. All right.
There's no regular 3-month blood test in the 17th century, I guess. So
Love it. All right, our final question. Who was the real villain of Renegade Nell? A. Poynton, B. Thomas, C. Sophia, or D. Income inequality?
ooh.
So deep.
As a working class girly, I will always have to say income inequality, period. It has to be the latter.
It is.
I would be doing my people a disjustice if I didn't say so.
It is the other thing, honestly, that I so wish the show had gotten either more episodes or more seasons, because I do think it's so funny how like she and Billy have this whole moment where they're like, maybe this is why you're here, Nell. Like, we're gonna change the world for the better. People don't deserve to live like this. And I'm like, they free like 50 people from a jail and then save the queen and are like, maybe just give me a pub. Bye.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you really let go of that crusade so fast. Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
I wish they'd gone into that a bit more too.
It just
that
it
is,
needed
I
more
think,
episodes. I mean, I think
completely. I think if they could have pushed to 10
Yeah.
at least, it would have been like such a sweet spot.
then they really would
Because
have
there were
fixed
little
England,
sections.
you know.
Yeah, and there were little sections even that I was part of that I was like, oh, we've wrapped that up already. Like I got to the end of the day I wrapped, and I was like, oh my god, I'm done. But I feel like I've not really done that much. Like, yeah, it was
Give us
felt
20
very-
episode seasons back.
yeah. I know. I miss when things were like that.
It's just things got to be so much more fun, you know? Like you
I
got to really
know.
dig into the muck of it all, and I miss that. But
Even like Glee used to have like
An
20
insane
episodes.
episode.
so many. I think the important takeaway is income inequality aside, Renegade Nell
Should have been
should have
gay.
been gay.
Or
Should have been gay.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, gay,
Yeah.
because it's pretty,
it's pretty
damn
gay.
gay.
Thank you so much for joining us. Where can our listeners find you on social media, or do you have any projects coming up?
You can find me on social media. On Instagram, I am Hesketh, Hesketh, where you can keep up to date with all things me. I've just left Hollyoaks. I'm about to do a lead in a really cool video game.
That's so exciting.
Which is something that I never thought I'd do because I personally think my voice is horrendous. So for that to be the only thing of mine that's being used, I'm a little bit freaked out. But I'm doing that next. I've been told I'm not allowed to say anything more than that, but that's that.
Great.
Secret safe.
And then secret safe. Hey, I'm allowed to tell everyone that, just no more.
Amazing.
I actually don't know much more myself anyway.
They were like, we have to just keep you in the
Um,
dark so you cannot tell
yeah.
anyone.
Yeah, fully. And I'm actually about to get facial feminization surgery. So I get that in just under a month's time. So I'm still raising money for that. So you can follow the link on my Instagram account if you would like to donate. I'm still raising money. I'm kind of nowhere near where I need to be to cover the costs. But, you know, we're getting there and it's good. And I'm so excited because that's going to be a new part of the journey for me. And I'm taking some time off to heal. And then who knows in the new year what's happening? It's definitely not season 2 of Now.
Unfortunately.
Hey, never say never.
Hey.
Never say never, okay?
Never say
There you
never. But hey, you never know.
Incredible. Well, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
hanging
much for
out.
having me.
This was a blast.
It's been so much fun. Thank you.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 well, yeah.
We love hearing from all of you, and we love continuing to build this community, so we just like to shout out some of our favorite things every episode. And this week, we would like to shout out actually one of our listeners and patrons in our Discord, Kat, who we know has just been having a time of it lately. So we just wanted to send some extra love your way. Kat, ask all of our listeners to send some extra love your way, and say that we hope things are looking up.
As always, I want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Lizette Stye,
Adi Benitez,
Sophia Phillips,
and Armani Gucci,
and our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen,
and Andrew Doucette. Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Let's Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at letshangoutpod@gmail.com.
You can check out our website at letshangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use to listen to podcasts, make sure that you subscribe. That way you'll get new episodes as soon as they go up every week.
We're also posting videos on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/letshangoutpod to catch them.
Let's Hang Out is an independently produced show. It is hosted by us. Our audio production is done by Ellie. Our production assistant is Krista Murison, and other podcasting shenanigans are done by me.
If you want to support the podcast, the easiest way to do that is to rate and review us on iTunes. We love hearing what you have to say.
If you want to join our Patreon, it is one of the best ways to help support us in continuing to make the show. You get access to our Discord chat, you get access to all of our bonus Patreon episodes, and you can join at bit.ly/lespatreon.
If you want to get some Let's Hang Out merch, we have a new merch store at bit.ly/lesmerch. You can get tees, tanks, totes, and you can also get fanny packs, hats, all kinds of cool stuff. So if you want to get that merch, make sure you check it out.
Remember, we also have a queer production company making queer podcast musicals with guaranteed happy endings that you can find everywhere at Dollar Bean Prod.
Or at our website, dollarbeanproductions.com.
You can listen to all of the episodes of our shows, our first show, The Flame, as well as our second show, Journey to the Heart. They are up on any podcasting app.
And if you want to help support us in making more musicals, you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/dollarbeanpatreon.
If you want to follow us individually, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LSH Foster.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ellie Brigida. With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee.
And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.